Hi everyone, today I would like to share with you a very good amplifier made by Technics in 1999. The model number is SA-DX930. So this is from 1999, and this is a time when Japanese firms, they start assembling their electronic equipment abroad on some cheaper countries. For example, they started in the Malaysia and then Taiwan, and they followed and moved to the China eventually. So they were designing, but because of the manpower problem, and they start producing, they went first Malaysia. So this is made in Malaysia, by the way, in 1990. Why this is very important? And this was called as a class H plus. What is class H plus? I will tell you later. But before we go further, this has a 6 channels, and it's a stereo audio video control receiver also. So it has AM FM also radio built in, and it has a DTS and the Dolby digital synthesizing parameters, which is common in the receivers nowadays and then. But important is that all 6 channels, surround, front and rear, all of them, this amplifier is rated 100 watts. So 100 watt for the front speakers, 100 watt for the rear speakers, and also 100 watt for the center speakers. So this is a basically 6 channel 100 watt at 6 ohms. Speaker load you can choose from 4 to 16 ohms. So when the impedance is less, the resistance is less with the speaker, then power output is ultimately higher. So if you use 4 ohms, even you can put it, if you measure it, you can put more than 110, maybe 120 watts. But at the 8 ohms, it will give you around 80, 90. 6 ohms is rated 100 watt each. Front channels and the center channels and the rear channels. So that's amazing. And this was the first device when they use audio amplifier chip inside. And then later upon it became a trend. So they use, I'll show you, we open it up, and I'll describe the circuitry, how it was designed, and I'll also show you the inputs and outputs on the back side. So let's talk about the front. So this is the volume control. If you see, this is the volume control, and you have a balance, treble, and here the bass. Basically simple amplifier features. This is for the input. You can choose the input from here, from tape, VCR, TV, DVD, CD, tuner, and phono. And phono, it has also a ground connection, so that's rated good for the phonographs or the turntable. You can also put the input. So all these input, you have LEDs. When you choose, you can see they are light on, and also on the display you can see also. So basically this is the input source for that. And here you have stereo, means 2 channel. Then you can choose the DTS and the DSP surround. So DSP basically is a digital signal processing. So what has been done when you get audio analog or the audio digital analog signal, so then you have a basically DA converter, digital analog to digital converter, which converts into digital. Then you can use a signal processing, sort of using equalizer, adding up more low frequencies, the mid range and the high range, suit your hearing desirability, and then you are converting back into analog, and then you are pushing to the preamplifier, and after preamplifier it goes to the the buffer section, and after buffer it goes to the driver, and after driver it goes to the PA, the power amplifier stage, and from that it's connected to the speakers where you hear the sound. So this is the basic principle for every amplifier. So you have the inputs, and but all who has the logos like DTS and the Dolby, basically when you put this logo, you are basically using their chips with the right. So you are buying the right from the Dolby Digital and the DTS that you're gonna use their chip for the digital signal processing, and you have to put the label. This is the requirement, and you can process the signal, audio signal, basically enhance it. Some people don't like digital signal processing. They like basic audio. It's about the taste. It's about yeah, depend upon the sort of music you are listening in, and also your taste. Some like a warm sounds, so they don't like digital interference at all. They want primarily from analog signal, and they amplify same through the preamp and goes to the preamp to the buffer and driver and the PA system, all analog, like accu phase. So basically each accu phase amplifier has 2 mono blocks inside basically. So signal you are feeding into preamp enhance it, so signal remains the analog itself, then it has been enhanced by the preamp and feed it to the PA, which is a separate devices where you have 2 mono blocks inside. You do it, but these are totally different architecture inside. I will show you and describe you how this whole thing is processed and been done, because a few of my subscribers, they asked that I have to provide some technical information. For me it's fine, it's my hobby, I can do that, but I do less because most of the people, the common user, don't like technical jargon, you know. They just wanted to have a good audio quality equipment, so that's why I let equipment speak for itself. But for this particular, because class H plus, what it is and how they have utilized it, so I think that I have to describe for those of my subscribers in a little bit detail. So you have a display modes basically where you can do it. It has a remote control also. You can change everything with the remote control. You can turn on the speakers A and B. When you see, you have a visualization also here in the screen. So basically you are choosing if the speakers are A and B are on or not. So simple, not very complicated user interface. It has a very simple. So you have a PTY selector here, then you have a DSP control, stereo, surround, and DTS. You choose it, and here you have a tuning. You have a tuning for the tuner, for the radio. If we go to the tuner, then you can see you see frequency. You press it, then it starts scanning. I hope because it's quite a bright afternoon, I hope you can see it. So this is the back side, and you see it has a fan to cool it down, amplifier inside. AC inlet, you have the front speakers here, left and right, and then you have you can see here you have the rear speakers also, left and right, and also they are B. So if they are A, these are B. If you are using the stereo channels only, so these work as a B and these are A. And if you are surround mode 6 channel, then they are the rear speakers. This is the center, and these are the surround outputs. So this is the output, and this side you see, this is a place where you can hook up loop AM antenna. This is for the FM antenna, 75 ohms impedance. This is for the AM, so you have to hook up the AM antenna here. This is the ground for the phonograph. This is the input for the phono, left and right, and ground. Ground is important because you have to the chassis from the phonograph and the amplifier should be ground it together, otherwise it can pick oscillations, and you also amplify with audio signal. The oscillation and sound is not good. You hear a lot of interference in the sound. This is the digital input for the CD and the DVD, but basically you can put any input. It should not be from the phono because it's very sensitive, but CD is rated for the streaming. If you have a Bluetooth output, you can put it and you can stream the music. It will amplify it. So these are for the digital input, and you also have basically, you know, input. If you are feeding it for the subwoofer center and the other from other source, you have a DVD player which you can play through this. So this is for the DVD player. You can input all those things here. And further for the audio, simply this is for the CD and this is for the tape, and this is for the VCR, this is for the TV in and out. So simple, not very complicated. It's structured very well, and if you just follow the instructions, and you won't find difficulty to connect to the speakers and the input device, basically in output devices also. So that's how it is. Now I already open because I wanted to show you the circuitry and the architecture, how it designed. So opening is easy. You have 2 screws here and 2 on the each side. I already opened it, so I wanted to give you a peek inside so you can see the technology in 1999 by the Technics, how they developed this amazing amplifier and AV receiver basically. So this is a circuitry inside. Basically you can see it has a very good big power supply with a lot of current rating, and here are the inputs. This is for the tuner. The same tuner input block has been used in the television sets, color television for the Sony and the Japanese color TV station. They were using the similar thing to use the VHF and UHF. So also they use in the AV receivers. So this is the tuner input. Then you have here the phono and the CD input, and when you get input, these circuits are also, it has inbuilt in a preamplifier, so they do preamplification and feed to the control board. And here, I don't know if you can see, this is chip. This is the main brain of the device. So this chip is controlling the entirety and selection when you work on the front panel or through remote. So choosing the inputs and feeding back to the preamp and the process signal to the preamplifier and buffer and driver zone, and finally to the power stage. This is power supply as I mentioned, and here you have 2 bridge rectifiers built in. You see 4 I hope you can see 4 diodes. They are just and with a big capacitor. So this is the basic circuitry to convert alternating current into DC. So when you have a voltage out, then you have to pass through the bridge rectifier, which are 4 diodes, and they are connected like a bridge. So they convert AC into the DC, alternating current direct. And then you have to also parallel put a big capacitor of the value of 3,300 microfarad minimum, or better 4,700 microfarads to filter more. So all the noise, because alternating current has a noise, it has a changing the polarity every second 50 to 60 times, and that create the noise. So you have to remove any residue which is passing through the bridge rectifier, and then the circuit goes further and feed it for alternatively. So the class H plus, what is that? You see this chip here. This is the complete block. This is a complete power amplifier for 3 channels. This chip has been produced by the National Panasonic and the Technics themselves. So it has complete 3-channel power amplifier built in and this chip is RSN310R36. So this amplifier has two chips, one here, one down. So 3 channel independent, 3 other side 6 channel independent, and they are the one basically pushing the 100 watt output. And you see here these are the drivers which making enough power to drive this chip. So this is the power amplifier chip, whole block basically, and this is the heart. That's why they call H class H Pro, because of this chip. And later on, you know, they modified and they create one chip with the 7 channels, but this chip has a very good sound and amplification. You see how big heatsink they have placed it. One of my subscribers asked me if amplifier is heavy due to a big power supply, is it a sign that it's a good amplifier? I say, well, yes and no. Yes, because bigger power amplifier require higher current, and you have to have a bigger power adapter transformer. So usually they are heavy because they have to drive a lot of current to the PA stage. So you see, but at the same time, technology advanced. Now you have switching transformers which are half of this size but produce the same power current to push those amplifier stages. So that is the reason, but the fluctuation is very high in the other module. Still, if you see the high-end amplifiers, they still use bigger power transformers with a higher current to drive their device, like Phase and Luxman and all other Marantz. They use bigger power transfer to push their amplifiers. Still they use the same because then the sound quality is better. The other transformers also, they are fine, but so if you see there is some amplifier which is heavy, that's not a guarantee that the amplifier can also produce a good sound. You know, you have to research a little bit to see what is the circuitry. Bigger power transformer is not only a sign to have a good amplification and the good chip for the driver mode and selectivity, like I mentioned, digital signal processing by the DTS and the Dolby system. So you have to take into consideration all the inputs, you know, and the capability of converting audio into the digital signal and returning it back. So if you just see some amplifier is just heavy and you think it's good, yeah, it's yes and no. You have to research a little bit for the circuitry and the architecture and the capability to deliver the power output. These things you have to take into consideration. So that's the reason I wanted to show you this chip, because this is very important. It has a two. One is the other side. I will flip the amplifier on the other side, then I can show you the same. And here is the other side, the second one there. If you follow my pencil, you can see it, and it's a similar heat sink on this side, and it has also same drivers which is pushing the power further. So now I'm gonna close it, and we're gonna do the sound test to see that all the technical specification which I have mentioned, does it really producing a good quality sound or not. Let's do it. So I'm doing the sound test. I'm playing Clarence Williams Jazz Kings from 1927 to 1929 by the New York Columbia recording, and I'm playing on the Marantz TT1200 phonograph. So here is the sound. This is on the DSP, but you need all channels to hear it. This is DTS. So we go back in stereo. This is a pure analog. You see a lot of noise. Basically, it's a recording from 1927, and the record is also from that era. So So it's a noise in recording basically. It's a purely analog input to analog output. Here you see I did not select any digital synthesizer, but I will play CD on also this on some other video, so you can see how the digital sound plays on in the decks and other things. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like the video.